When you find a particularly annoying long chin hair, your first instinct is to pluck that sucker out and be the facial hair-free beauties that we've been told women are supposed to be. But what if your body's working a little differently? What if your hormones are creating facial hair that becomes more than a passing annoyance, but more a full-time job to stay on top of? And what if you eventually decide to embrace that about yourself instead of working against it? Further to that, what if you take that aspect of yourself and turn it into a lifelong motivation to not only break down beauty standards, but also teach young women around the globe to just love themselves a little bit more, no matter what your body throws at you? That is the story of today's guest, Harnaam Kaur. Harnaam was diagnosed with PCOS at a really young age, and after years of removing the facial hair that PCOS brought with it, she let it grow. Facing bullying and blows to her mental health, she stood tall. A woman daring to face down a world that tells women like her that her choice is the wrong one.
Did you know preparing for a baby can start outside of the bedroom, even before you start trying? Because preconception health matters for both of you. Elevate Preconception and Pregnancy has your preparation covered. It is formulated to support your increased nutritional needs when you're trying to conceive, right through the duration of your pregnancy. What's more, it contains vitamin D, folic acid and iron, along with 16 other essential nutrients to support bub's healthy development from the beginning. And it's not just your health. Menavit Preconception Sperm Health is clinically formulated to support healthy sperm production, motility and testosterone levels. Together, Elevate and Menavit support couples prepping for their next chapter, creating a healthy foundation for your future mini-me. Start preparing today. Shop now at Chemist Warehouse. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
Harnaam, welcome to Well.
Thank you for having me. Wow, what an introduction. I mean, podcast done, right?
We don't need to speak now. Let's move on.
You're good. Oh, wow. Thank you for having me. Really excited to be here.
You were the first person we thought of when we were talking about hormones, so we are really, really excited to talk to you today.
I love the part about the chin hair. I had to do this little bit like chin hairs. I've got enough of them.
And you are looking gorgeous today, I might add.
Thank you.
Harnaam, I would like to take us right back to the beginning of your story, to little Harnaam's life, because you were diagnosed quite young with PCOS. But what were you experiencing that motivated your parents to take you to see a doctor in the first place?
Yeah, absolutely. I think initially it was, I hit puberty very young. I was in year 6, so I was 10 years old going on to, being 11 years old. And because I started my periods very early, not only were they excruciatingly painful, but I also saw that I was getting the facial hair around my face. Obviously, looking at other girls in my class, I thought, wow, they don't have the facial hair and I do. And it was, I would say, a combination of painful periods and the facial hair. And on top of that, I gained a lot of weight very quickly. And that sort of rang alarm bells, for us. And we had to speak to the doctor about it because there were things happening to my body that I just didn't understand. And obviously my parents weren't going to have the answers. It's quite taboo to talk about, biology and, your body and puberty in the South Asian culture. So, yeah, they took me to the doctor, and after various blood tests and ultrasound scans, I was told that I have Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome, which is very hard to say at a young age.
Do you remember much about the conversations that were had with doctors around that time, and what was your understanding of what PCOS was when you were young?
I had no understanding of PCOS. First of all, just challenge anyone to say Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome 5 times without stuttering. And I had no idea what it was. I thought I was dying of a very rare disease. When you're that young, being, diagnosed with something, it's quite daunting, it's quite scary. And it was only until the nurse in my secondary school approached me with a leaflet saying, this is what you have, these are the side effects. with my doctor, it was a simple conversation of, you have polycystic ovarian syndrome. But it was actually the nurse in my school that gave me leaflets and said, this is what you're dealing with. This is what you're struggling with. This is why you have facial hair. And ultimately, it was one of the biggest reasons to why I was horrendously bullied in school as well.
Talk us through that, because kids can be really ruthless. When anyone shows that they're different in any way, shape or form, how did you handle that?
Oh, wow. To be honest, I still find it quite difficult, because if I'm out and about and there's a group of teenagers, I avoid them. Or I'll go out in public without any makeup and wear very baggy clothes. I used to do that as a teenager, but now that I'm 35, I still see myself doing that, which is just wild. And it just shows how much the impact of bullying really stays with you. I guess for me back then, I just really wanted to fit in, just look like a regular girl, be like a regular girl. And for me, the medical condition itself, I put to the back of my mind because it wasn't something that I really wanted to deal with. For me, it was the bullying. Why am I being bullied? How can I stop this? And I had to grow up very quickly, because a lot of the things I dealt with as a young kid, I don't think many other girls in my class had to deal with that as well. So I had to mature very quick and sort of learn to understand and build a relationship with my body from young, which was the most difficult thing to do.
I'm guessing along with trying to just look like a regular girl, you would have spent a lot of time and effort removing that facial hair.
Oh, absolutely. I have a whopper of a story. I remember my mother taking me to get my face waxed for the very first time. I mean, imagine just waxing your arms and legs. That is painful.
Oh my gosh, I think I can feel it.
Yeah, it was excruciating. And because I was so young, I didn't quite know what to expect, with the whole pain that was going to come with it. For me, I was just very excited. Oh, the bullying's going to stop, and I'm going to get rid of this facial hair and people are not going to bully me anymore. So I was excited. I was so naive. And I remember I went to the beauty salon and I sat down on this chair. The lady next to me had her hair in one of those massive blow dryer, and she was reading like a Vogue magazine. The wax went on and then the strip went on and then she pulled it back. And the way that I screamed, the lady actually threw her Vogue magazine. I don't think she expected me to scream like that. And it was just horrible knowing that I still have the rest of my face to do. And I remember begging for gas and air, and the lady said, "You're not pregnant, you don't need gas and air." I said, with the pain that I'm going through, I feel like I need gas and air. So yeah, and then that was a weekly ordeal. The more my hormones changed, the facial hair came vigorously. I guess it wanted to stay on my face. But then I would have to wax twice a week. And then the days where I wasn't waxing, I would shave, tweeze, thread, whatever I could. Even hair removal creams you use on your arms and legs, I would use it on my face. That's how desperately I wanted to get rid of it.
How long do you reckon you did that for? Because you're, very young teenager at this stage. Did that go on for years for you? Was that a long process?
Oh, absolutely. It went on for absolute years. I mean, it was just one of those things where I was so just engrossed in wanting to get rid of it and looking normal. But the funniest thing is, just because I changed myself and the way that I looked, it doesn't mean that the bullying stopped, because before it was, oh, she's got facial hair, she's a man, let's bully her. Then it was, oh, she's shaving. And then out came the Mach 3 razor taunts as well, which is really funny because now I would really love to do a brand campaign with them, to sort of stick it in people's faces You bullied me for that brand. Now I'm earning thousands because of that brand,
Success is the best revenge, right?
There you go. Absolutely. So I sort of love to stick it to the public sometimes. Well, not the public, but people that don't like me. I'm like, well, you're going to have to keep looking. And I'm fine with it now. It was very hard, again, getting to grips with the way that my body was sort of functioning and looking and forming. But yeah, I've gotten to a place now where this is it sort of thing. It's on me. It's a part of a medical condition. I wanted to stop battling with my body, so I just let my facial hair grow. But there were years, I spent years removing, and the more my body changed, the facial hair just came.
While you're dealing with this, I mean, facial hair isn't the only symptom of PCOS. You're dealing with so many other things at the same time. Like, what else is happening in your body while you're dealing with all of this outside noise?
Wow. So I had irregular periods. I ballooned. I was the heaviest girl in class. And I believe that was always the case through my school years. And I think that in itself was quite, scary as well, being bullied for the weight. And then I've got the facial hair to deal with. It was also the pain that came with the irregular periods. That was horrendous. And then I used to, comfort eat a lot. I used to eat my emotions. And unfortunately, I ended up becoming diabetic as well. So then I had that to deal with. And that's something that I'm still, looking after. There were a bunch of things. But for me, mainly it was the bullying, the facial hair, and just the mental torment, because PCOS doesn't just impact us physically with the side effects and, what the side effects does to us, but it also impacts our quality of life as well, and our mental health and well-being. And I think sometimes we forget that part as well. And I know I surely did.
I know you've been pretty open talking about this at times too, that the combination of the bullying and the impact that PCOS had on your mental health, it really pushed you to the limit, didn't it? And there were times that you had suicidal thoughts and self-harming. Just how far did this push you?
I started to self-harm because it was my body that made me look this way to why I was being bullied. So then I started to punish my body. Like, how dare you look like this? Look at what you're putting me through. And, you can't fight fire with fire, as people say. Just because I'm giving myself this physical pain now and I'm punishing myself, it's not going to get rid of the actions of other people. Now I'm destroying my own self. I was too young to understand that, And it's funny now because now I have sort of tattoos like all up and down my arms, down my legs and, and stuff. So where I'm not self-harming now, I like getting really big tattoos. I guess it's just the sensation of certain things, Sometimes like when I'm feeling really down, I'll get like a really big tattoo, and it's just a sensation of certain things. My mind just goes back there to when I was like a young girl. And again, the more I did that, the deeper I went into this real deep, dark depression. And when you're that young, it can be quite hard to sort of pick yourself back up out of something so dark. And I just spiraled. I spiraled horrendously. And I had a good group of friends, but they could only support me so much, because for me, it was, you're not going through what I'm going through. Who do I actually turn to? Who is there that can understand me fully? And it was that loneliness and that feeling of I'm having to go through this by myself. And then it was the bullying on top of that, feeling like there's no space in this world for me, feeling inadequate, feeling like I have no worth. And then the taunts of the bullies just going through my mind over and over again daily. And that made me very suicidal, extremely.
What was the turning point for you, Harnaam? Because there's a moment where you do decide to embrace your facial hair and to start looking at yourself differently. Was there a catalyst for that? Was there a moment, or was that a gradual process?
It was a gradual process, I would say. Again, I was dealing with my mental health and sort of learning how to understand and cope with that. It took a real, we love to use the word journey, but it really was a journey. And just that picking myself up, changing the way that I thought about myself, trying to block out people's negative opinions of me, that's really hard to do as an adult. So imagine having to do that as a young child that's trying to understand their place in this world, trying to navigate through society. It's quite difficult. But again, I had to grow up very quickly. And it got to a point where I thought to myself, and I really had to sit down and, you know, sort of say to myself, your bullies are out there living life in, you know, in such an amazing way. You've not done anything. You're innocent in all of this. You can't control the way that your body is forming and functioning. You really can't. So why is it that you're allowing the opinions of people that probably don't even love themselves, that probably have their own issues, people that are probably projecting their own absolute rubbish on you, you know, why are you allowing them to form your own opinion about you? And I had to tell myself that over and over again, don't change for people that don't even love themselves. Don't change for people that are in your life for 2 seconds. Don't change for people that really don't matter. And there's a whole religious aspect as well as to why I started keeping the facial hair, because as Sikhs or baptized Sikhs, we don't remove our bodily hair. My relationship with religion has changed a lot now. But back then, you know, the rules and regulations of being a baptized Sikh, it really, you know, it was something I held dear. So keeping the facial hair was one of the reasons, because I was baptized at the age of 16. So that's why I started keeping the hair at 16, because of religion. But now it's more of, this is me, this is who I am, you know? It's like, you know the song, This Is Me and the Greatest Showman? I love that song.
Did you have any role models? I mean, you've become a role model for so many young women. You've become a real leader in this space in breaking down beauty standards for women with facial hair. But was there anyone that you could look at and identify with when you were younger?
Wow. When I started keeping the facial hair, I would look to a lot of like old school religious women, very strong, you know, held their own, very, you know, staunch, very, I don't want to say the word hard-headed. I would think that's the wrong word, but true, like saint soldiers. Anything that came their way, they just head on tackled it, you know? And it was that sort of mentality that I then took on as well. You know, like, look at your bloodline, look at your generations. I have generations of people in my family that are army men, you know, and their wives, you know, having to be strong, not knowing, you know, that is my husband going to come back, like real strong, powerful women, you know, married to real strong men that fought for their country. And even now, I still have cousins that are like, yeah, we want to join the military. And I'm just like, this is my bloodline. You know, this is where I've come from. So it took for me to sort of understand, you know, the blood that I have in me, that sort of allowed me to be strong as well. But then I also had the strength of religion, you know, that I fell back on too.
Was advocacy something that you planned on, or was that something that came with people being intrigued with your choice and then not quite understanding it and you taking a position of educating people?
Absolutely. For me, it was, to be honest, my career has sort of snowballed. I remember back in 2014, a journalist was very intrigued with my story, and she sort of said, you know, I really want to learn about you. I want to write about you. And back then I was unemployed, and she was offering Starbucks coffee and a slice of cake. And I thought, I'm unemployed. I've got nothing to do. So why not, you know? And back then I was a very, very shy young woman, you know, not outspoken, very shy, didn't really go out much, didn't really socialize much because of the way that I looked. I sort of kept to my own, you know, community. And I thought, yeah, why not? And that story went absolutely viral, me speaking on how PCOS impacts my body, my mental health, how I sort of came out of feeling so depressed and suicidal, why I keep my facial hair and the strength that I sort of, that comes from it, look, you know, being me and looking like this, especially in a world where, you know, there is a, you know, a way of looking. And if you don't look that way, you're bullied and ostracized. And I think that hit a lot of people's hearts. And a lot of women then messaged me saying, oh my God, like your story is literally what I feel and, you know, what I've gone through. And I remember saying to myself, it will be a real injustice if you stop talking now, because if you're able to be this strong to the point of sharing your story and it's hitting a lot of people, not just women, but young girls, boys, men as well, that go through bullying or that went through, body shaming or suicidal tendencies or were depressed, etc. So different elements of my story that hit the hearts of many. And I just thought, don't stop now. And my work sort of snowballed from then.
Well, you've definitely carved out a space in the world, which is really interesting. And you've clocked quite a few firsts in your life too. I mean, you're the first woman with a beard to walk on the catwalk at London Fashion Week. You're a Guinness World Record holder. You've introduced programs into schools for young girls. And so you've absolutely hit so many milestones. When you look back at the career that you forged from that Starbucks coffee interview in 2014, are there moments that really stand out for you?
I would say the moments that stand out the most, not only is it the first that you've mentioned, let's not forget the magazine covers too.
Oh my God, so many gorgeous covers.
Thank you. I mean, it's wild because I used to watch a lot of like fashion TV when I was younger. And now to be able to do sort of magazine covers, it's just absolutely wild for me. I look back at my younger self and I think, like if only she was physically, like my younger self was physically here, I would hug her and tell her, girl, we made it. Like we're doing good, Like you'll be fine. We're doing absolutely fine. You're strong. It's hurting you now, but when you're older, you're really going to make something of yourself and you're really going to help inspire. Before that used to come with a lot of ego for me. I won't lie. Like I am it and I'm an advocate. You need to listen to me. But now I come at things with a lot more humility because that's the only way that I can truly touch people's hearts, is through compassion and humility, not with ego. That never does anything good for anyone. But yeah, I look back now and I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful for each and every platform that I've been given by people. It's humbling.
I was having a look through some of the comments on your social media because I wanted to see how people still react to you, even though you've been advocating in the space for decades now. And it's so funny because I love seeing there's so many women in these comments who are just hyping you up. Like they love that your fingernail color matches your turban, or there's just all these beautiful comments about, how gorgeous your beard looks today, or like they love your outfit and oh my God, your eyes are popping. Like there's all these amazing supportive women in there. I also had to laugh because there's now emerging in your comments so many people that think you're an AI fake, which is hilarious. But also there seems to be quite a large cohort of men in particular who still feel the need to bully you. And I've seen you call these men out that you interact with in real life as well, not just in the comments. Do you think it's important to call out people who say things to you that are still not acceptable? Like you posted a video not long ago of a man who tried to give you like beard grooming advice, like out in the wild, and how that's just not appropriate. Like how do you handle that now?
Oh, wow. So I would have absolutely taken offense back in the day. Now I'm a lot more, I don't get offended. If someone wants to give me beard grooming advice, I might just comment back or reply back in a hilarious, sarcastic way. One thing I will tell you is we Brits are very sarcastic. We have real dark humor, and that is totally me and my personality. So a lot of the hate comments that I get, I actually laugh, and not in a derisive way, not to mock them, like, ha, look at you, don't you know I'm a woman? But I really, truly do find it funny. I remember just a few days ago, I was sat with my brother and I was going through the comments under one of my recent reels, and we were sat there just bawling with laughter, So where people think, we're going to take her down or, we'll give her a nasty comment, I welcome it. Because it truly is funny. It's like the whole AI thing. Oh, AI, she's AI. I'm really not. I'm really, really not.
Harnaam, what's your relationship with your facial hair like today? Because I know I follow you on social media. I know that sometimes there are days where you're like, should I remove it or should I keep it? It feels like it's not something that you are 100% comfortable sitting with still, even now after all these years.
I mean, why do you think I want to do that Mach 3 campaign? The facial hair was actually one of the reasons to why I went to my doctor today, because for the past year or so, and I know this is going to come as such a surprise to people, but I think after, nearly 20 years of having a beard, I feel as though, I get it caught in my lipstick sometimes. It's so annoying. That's the reason why I want to remove it, because it gets stuck on my lip gloss. It's an end of an era, I feel. I feel as though I'm just so ready to see myself in a new light. I'm so ready to see what I would look like without it. Because remember, I don't know what I look like without the beard. I've only ever seen myself with it. That's going to make me cry. Fuck. Yeah, I've never ever seen myself without it. And also, I'm sick, as strong as I am, I'm just sick and tired of always having to, avoid public just because I don't want to. I avoid school times, when I'm walking my dog. And it's like, what kind of a life are you living right now? I've never been in a fully fledged relationship where I can introduce a guy to my parents, I want to be married. I want to have kids. I want to settle down. All these things that I wanted as a little girl, I still want them, I don't want to keep having to, face the public and think, oh God, they're going to say shit, or dress myself down to look like a boy because I don't want people knowing that I'm a woman, and, I glam my face up and I wear dresses. Sometimes I'll walk around like this because I don't want people seeing that I've got, coloured nails, so I'll hide them. And I see myself doing this now. And I sometimes think to myself, you don't need to live like this. I remember I was in my car and I waited a good 5-10 minutes to get out of my car because there was a group of lads outside my car looking in, laughing at me. And I remember coming back home and I said to my family member, I said, I don't want to live like this anymore. I want to be free from all that bull crap. And it's not because I'm not strong. It's just I'm in a different place in my life right now, and I want to see how my life can flourish without it. What else can life bring? How else will my life change? Maybe I'll find the love of my life. Who knows, And people often say to me, well, if someone's going to accept you, they're going to accept you for you. But I say to them, let's not be naive. We each have preferences, it might be hard for a guy to accept a woman that's got a bigger and better beard than him. You never know.
I mean, he might be a little intimidated.
Well, this is the thing, especially with the type of guys that I find, attractive. It might be really hard for them to feel the same way about me because of the way that I look. And as feminine as I am, I do understand that the beard is a hindrance, and I used to do this. I used to hold it against people so much, but I don't do that anymore. I have more understanding now, especially as I'm older. So I'm just really excited to see how my life will look now, especially as I'm in my mid-30s. I think going into my 40s, I want to look different.
Also, too, going into your 40s, you're going to hit a period where you absolutely stop caring about anything. So that's going to play a role too.
Yeah. But also with that, I don't want to live life with the what if. What if Harnaam just once you got rid of it? What if you looked different? Imagine what you could have achieved. I don't want to then go into my 50s and 60s having lost all those decades And then living with the question, what if? And that scares me. And I think that what if question scares a lot of people for a variety of different reasons. But for me, it's this, like, what if you just look different? Imagine the things that could have unfolded for you.
Well, that's the beauty, is that you can choose. You've got choices, and we look forward to seeing whichever way you decide to go.
Thank you.
So, Harnaam, you have spent quite a lot of time being an advocate for people with PCOS. Do you think that will change and grow? Say you are diagnosed with endometriosis, do you feel like that becomes part of your advocacy work as well? Or do you feel like, no, this is just my personal health journey and it goes wherever it takes me?
Absolutely. I mean, you hit the nail on the head right there. I think the word advocacy is very strong. What I like to show is no matter who you are, what medical condition you have, the way that your body is functioning and sort of manifesting in your life, the way that you look shouldn't be a hindrance to what you can achieve. So then I decided to do all these different things with a beard, If you accept yourself and you love yourself, and this was my message for a very long time, like, learn to love yourself, learn to have a relationship with your body, learn to understand what's happening, and watch the doors that can open for you, find that liberation, feel that liberation. And now I want to sort of feel that liberation without it. And again, see what happens, with the next few decades of my journey and my life. But for me, it was all about, of course you can look different and get a front cover. Of course you can look different and do brand campaigns. Of course you can look different and, do a documentary or be on TV and, model, for heaven's sakes. Of course you can. Of course there's a space for you. And for me, a few years back, that's what it was, is watch me pave a way for people that look different. So if I can do all these different things and achieve all these milestones, well, what's stopping you from doing the exact same, And I think that's what my advocacy was, is standing up tall and strong and being, again, strong about, what people were going through or what we go through, and say, this is who I am, this is me, I love it. So love it too.
That was so beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to bring it back to your how you're feeling in yourself today, because you've been living with PCOS for a long time now. But also I saw that you have been fighting potentially for an endometriosis diagnosis. How are you in your health and your body today?
Oh, it's really funny because I actually went to visit my doctor earlier this afternoon, and I'm being referred back to my gynecologist now because of the pain that I go through. And I get a lot of spotting and sort of abnormal bleeding when I'm not supposed to be bleeding. So maybe after a period has finished. And then with that comes a lot of excruciating pain. I feel as though my uterus or my womb is just being pulled down. I'll get horrible, like electric shock type sensations down my legs up to my chest. A lot of tightening of the chest as well. All symptoms that sound like it could be endometriosis. When I explained this to my gynecologist, she said, well, actually, I can diagnose you just by hearing your symptoms. We call it a likelihood of endometriosis. Here are the pills you can take. And I said, I'm not going to take pills just for the sake of taking pills if I don't actually have it. So I had to really push for my doctor to get me to see a gynecologist. And they had me waiting over 18 months whilst I was sort of writhing in pain. And I had to say to them, this is unacceptable. Like, I shouldn't be struggling with this much pain. After pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, I finally have an MRI scan next month, which I will go for. And the gynecologist has said, if we see anything in the MRI scan, then you will be put off for a laparoscopic procedure. I said, just do the procedure, because that's the only real way you're going to see if there's any endometriosis in me. But they sort of still want to do the transvaginal exams. They still want to do the MRI scans. I'm like, I will give you my body, do whatever on earth you need to do, but I just can't live with this pain anymore.
How do you cope with pain? I mean, so many women experience pain when it comes to things like endo or PCOS or, various other, especially pelvic issues, prolapses. Like, pain seems to be such a consistent story in so many women's lives. How do you handle it?
I think a lot of mental strength needs to be there. When I tell you, I'll sometimes randomly wake up on my bed having to really tightly hold my stomach and roll back and forth until the pain goes. There's only so many painkillers I can take until it becomes dangerous. I have a hot water bottle here, which I use. I also have 2 dogs as well, God bless them. I walk them an hour a day, every day, rain or shine, snow, whatever it is, we're walking. Physically, I try and keep moving as much as I can, but there's only so much that I can do before it becomes absolutely unbearable, right? I mean, there's only so much walking I can do before my womb starts feeling like it's going to fall out of me. So I'm still pushing my doctors, to ask for help. And they have prescribed me stronger painkillers, but I really don't want to be taking too many medications because of the side effects they can have once they're sort of mixed in my body. So yeah, I'm trying to handle it the very best that I can.
I'm not sure if you're across this. At least here in Australia, they're thinking of rebranding PCOS to remove that reference to being in relation to cysts, because they're not technically cysts. It's just eggs that forgot to egg in your ovaries, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about giving your condition a name that better reflects exactly, because it's so much more than just your ovaries too, right? So do you feel like giving it a name that better reflects the condition would be helpful for women?
Absolutely. I think then you know exactly what you're dealing with. It's not just the cyst that you have, it's your metabolism, it's your mental well-being is also, like you said, there's so many more side effects that come with, having PCOS. It's not just, we've got jewelry in our ovaries. It's like, no. There's, your microbiome is impacted, your skin is impacted, you have cardiovascular issues as well. There's diabetes, there's weight gain, there's insulin resistance. There's so much that comes with it, just to sort of narrow it down to the ovaries. And yeah, I could say, I want to go as far as saying it can be a little bit dishonest calling it just PCOS, but because there's so many more symptoms, it's like, what can you call it? Like, how can you sort of narrow it down to just one name? Like, what is it? It's called being a woman. That's what it is.
Yeah. Oh, God, if we put everything under just being a woman, that's a long list.
Absolutely. I mean, even just endometriosis, all the pain and all the side effects that come with that.
Yeah. Well, Harnaam, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you, and thank you for the advocacy work that you do. You really have allowed conversations into spaces where sometimes it has not been something that we'd wanted to look at. And when it comes to challenging beauty standards, it's something we're all still struggling with. So we appreciate the work that you do, and we thank you so much for spending some time with us today. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.